My name is Onyinyechi Igwe. I'm the director of 2106590 Consulting. Today I'm going to be bringing my project to a close. The title of my project is Investigating the Drivers and Solution Strategy of High Employee Turnover in Vascon Solution. In a fast-paced IT industry, high employee turnover rate is a challenge that a lot of organizations face. According to insights from LinkedIn, between the period of July 2021 to 2022, the tech and professional services industry, they recorded a very high rate of employee turnover rate, which is way above the average for all industries. This brings me to an introduction of my client. My client, Vascon Solution, is an IT company that is focused on value-added services within the enterprise technology and renewable energy space. For a while, from the period of 2018 to 2022, my client has experienced high employee turnover rates. And because of this, my services has been sought after to help investigate and address the issues, the challenges. This project is hinged on an objective, which is to devise effective strategy to be able to reduce high turnover rates for my clients and enhance overall effectiveness. The project was divided into 4 phases. The first phase was the part where the client's background was explored, project scope and assumptions were made, and the project plan was set to be able to set a timeline through which this project is going to run through. The second part of the project analyzed the client's current state with regard to comparable case studies within the industry and to identify key gaps from where the client currently is to where the client wishes to be. The third part of the project dealt with the solution that will be recommended to the client, as well as the methods and methodologies through which the solution will be implemented. Also, the evaluation of the effectiveness of the solution was also addressed in this third part, and finally, recommendation. The fourth part of the client's project is going to deal on the closure of this project. This whole slide is going to contain the solution that is going to be recommended to the client, how the solution was tested, visualization of insight gotten from data, interpretation of this analysis, solution model method adjustments, if there were any adjustments that were made to the solution, finally conclusion, recommendations, and next step for the client, as well as client feedback, personal reflection, and key lessons learned. The solution that I'm going to be referring to my client is the implementation of Exit Interview. Exit Interview helps to get a focused and strategic way for the employer to gain valuable insights from employees who are leaving the company within a short time frame and at manageable cost, as opposed to an alternative that I've considered, which is implementation of a comprehensive employee engagement system. The reason why this option is the better option of the two is because, with regards to efficiency, Exit Interview is more cost and time efficient as opposed to the alternative, which is very capital intensive and takes longer implementation timeline. Also, critical insights can be gotten from Exit Interview, which is also important because the client needs immediate action for the problem that is currently facing, as opposed to extensive organizational changes that needs to be done for this solution, the employee engagement process, to be effective. The next part is going to talk about the solution testing plan, criteria, and evaluation. To test the effectiveness of the suggested solution, I have assessed it through the use of survey and structured interviews in order to ensure that the participants for this survey and interviews are representative of the target population. I've set some criteria, which includes organization type, job role, tenure, location, and demography. Now, these are the steps through which the testing was done. The first part was to design the survey to ensure that the questions that were set were not leading, they were appropriate, and then they captured the entire point of the test, as well as interview prompts to prompt participants on aspects through which to discuss in the interview. The next part was to pilot test the survey to ensure that there were no errors or modifications to be made. Next step was to distribute this survey and also to conduct the interview. Afterwards, it was the data collection process and then transcription of the interview that was conducted to identify key themes and patterns. Next step was to effectively or very rigorously analyze the data to get insight to be interpreted, and finally recommendation for the client. In order to ensure that this test phase went very smooth sailing, so a set of criteria were set. The first one was to ensure that the responsiveness of the response rate gotten from the survey was up to standard and above the average of every online surveys. The second was to get adequate employee feedback, enough feedback that represents the perception of employees in general. The next part was the representativeness. Having set some criteria to ensure that the participants were representative of the sample, this criteria is in place to ensure that that happens. The validity is to confirm that the initially stated hypothesis aligns with the results gotten from the data analysis done. Also, bias and neutrality to ensure that the questions that were set were not leading, inappropriate, and then they represent the points being passed. And finally, to set a very good framework through which the data gotten can be analyzed. The next part was evaluation. Evaluation of the solution was done through proper data cleaning analysis, and also a comparative analysis was made with the client company and also with comparison with benchmarks. Hypothesis testing was also a form of evaluation. Effective communication was made back and forth with the client to ensure that their opinions were sought with the process. Finally, addressing disparities to see if there was any modification or enhancement that was to be made to the solution. Then output gotten were insightful reports from the results, which was represented through visual representation. Finally, actionable recommendations that were gotten from this representation, and also a detailed report was prepared for the clients. In this aspect, a total of 93% of volunteers responded out of 110. This amounted to about 85% response rate, which is way above the recommendation of the Office of Management and Budget. This result indicates that the result is robust enough to guide effective decision making. So for the data analysis, firstly, a comparative analysis was done to test for the effectiveness of the solution. And the people that made up the participants were both employees from the client's firm and also employees from similar IT company. From the results, we can see that 75% of the clients responded expressed that exit interview is very effective in identifying reasons for employee attrition. This was also corroborated by employees from similar IT company, that 70% of which stated that the solution will be very effective. This goes to buttress the fact that this solution is very effective in solving the problem on ground. Following that, of the people who said that this solution was very effective, I did an analysis to see if they would recommend the solution in their present organization. And from the results, 88% of the client's employees and 80% of employees from similar IT company also strongly recommended the solution as a means of solving high employee turnover. Of the people who recommended the solution, I did an analysis to check the age grade of these people, and from the results, 65% of people who fall within the age of 25 to 34 strongly recommended the solution. The reason why this is important because this analysis, this age range makes up the age spectrum that makes up the employees' workforce. So it was very important to get their opinion. Moving on, I checked for the years of experience of people who recommended the solution to see if they had enough industry experience to recommend this. And from the results, people from that had experience ranging from 1 year through to over 10 years all similarly agreed that this solution was going to be very effective. Another aspect of analysis that was covered was to check for the perception of exits of employees to exit interviews to see if it was going to be beneficial to the organization. About 70% of my clients responded strongly agreed to the fact that exit interviews is very beneficial to an organization, as well as 72% from my clients from similar IT companies. And of these percentages, the different group agree that first, the exit interviews can help in identifying areas of improvement for the organization. It can help to gain insights into employee satisfaction, job satisfaction generally, understand why employees leave, help to also enhance a company's retention strategies. Now, there is no solution without limitation, and some of the limitations that we identified for the solution include privacy and confidentiality concern, which was one of the limitations that ranked really highly, amongst inadequate training for interviews and a host of others. An analysis was done to figure out under what circumstances will employees from both my clients and other firms will feel most comfortable to engage and provide honest feedback for an exit interview. And ranked really low of all the options is doing a confidential one-on-one meeting with the HR representative. This meant that about 17% and 11% of the total group of respondents say they would rather not partake if a HR person conducted this. Highly ranked in my client's organization was if the interview was conducted by an external third party. This is the scenario in which they will feel most comfortable to engage. Other options include if they are assured that their whatever response they give will not negatively impact future job references and offers, as well as ensuring that their feedback will be valuable in making changes within the organization. Now, I sought to see if there was any amendment that was made to the solution, but no modification was required because the proposed solution method aligned with the initially stated hypothesis, and also a consistent approach was made, across the project, so no modifications was needed. The executive summary of everything I've said included that the problem is high employee turnover, proposed solution is implementation of exit interviews, the effectiveness of the solution was tested using survey and interview, a sample size consisting of both client company and comparative companies as well. A 5% response rate was gotten to show the robustness of data. For solution validity, the results aligned very firmly with the initially stated hypothesis. A consistent approach was made, so no adjustments were needed. Based on the research, a set of recommendations will be made to the client and actionable insights. For key takeaways, the client's feedback was sought after to ensure that their opinion was instilled within the solution. Finally, the journey of the researcher, the next phase is going to capture key lessons learned as a researcher and personal reflection. Now, for the next steps recommended for the client, the first step is phase implementation. The first part is to execute a rollout strategy for the solution, to determine what communicative strategy will be employed, as well as the timeline through which the exit interviews will be conducted. The next step is training and awareness to provide comprehensive training to either a HR person or a consultant, an external third person, or any person in a managerial position that will be involved in the exit interview process in order to ensure confidentiality and safeguard against prejudice and bias. The next step is to external third party facilitation. Based on the insight gotten from the data, I would advise the employee to explore the option of engaging the services of an external third party consultant to conduct exit interviews. This can help enhance participant willingness to want to perform and engage in the process. Then the next step is feedback analysis to create a dedicated process where the data can be collected from employees and properly analyzed to identify recurring themes and trends. The next step is continuous assessment, to conduct periodic reviews to assess the ongoing effectiveness of the solution, to check for employee retention rate and see if there's any improvement, as well as to figure out, to identify employee satisfaction within the organization. Next part is enhanced engagement, to be able to leverage insights gotten from the exit survey that was done to implement within the organization so that changes can be made. Feedback closure is to establish a feedback loop such that changes that were made can be communicated to new exit interview participants who are leaving the organization. This can help, assure them that whatever feedback they give is going to be valuable within the organization. Finally, benchmarking, to be able to continuously compare attrition rates of the company and feedback against, industry standards, to be able to ensure a competitive edge within the industry. So in order to test for to ensure that the solution is a success, a set of criteria has been listed, such as enhanced employee feedback, identification of root causes, actionable insight, and positive impact on retention rate. Once all of these are identified, then the client can be confident that the solution was a success. In conclusion, the project validates the effectiveness of this solution as earlier stated. The solution did not require any adjustment. The recommended steps include, training personnel, leveraging on feedback, continuously assessing, refining, amongst a host of others. And finally, these actions collectively ensure that the client can, help to improve its company, help to enhance employee retention strategy, and finally maintain a competitive edge within the industry space. This is what the client has to say about the
project. Good job so far. I'm impressed, especially when I listen to the approach and what the tools you guys are using to carry out some of these survey and the interview. It's actually very interesting. Internally for us, we feel we needed to actually do this part of it. We need to do this survey. We need to understand why they are leaving, so that at least if there's anything we need to do about it, we can come up with the solution or whatever it is to actually stop it. But interestingly, I'm happy that you guys were able to adopt a methodology or interview approach that actually going to suit the situation. Bringing a consultant, getting them to interview them, getting them to talk to them. Like I said, the most important thing is we need to make it more flexible. We need to make it more relaxed. we need to make sure that the consultant talks to them like, you are solving the problem. You are not coming to ask me a question. The moment you start making it look like you're asking a question, I will be, timid or, a bit time to talk to you. But the moment we realize that, you are coming here to share an idea with me and at the same time trying to solve a problem, we can be free to talk to each other. We can be free to see how we can, find a solution to the issue on ground. I think that's why I said it's a very good approach. You really buy into it. I feel it's going to be able to bring out the truth and get the right information that we want to know about why they are leaving the company. It's a good one. Even the feedback I got from the HR people since you started with them has been very good too. They feel like it's encouraging and at the same time it's exposing them to some of the things they need to do on their own too. That's a good one too.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you very much.
We're happy to work with you and we're still open to other area we can work together on this.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so that was the feedback gotten from my client from presentation made to him. This last phase of this presentation is the key lessons learned as a researcher. The first thing that I learned is the value of real-time feedback. The exit interviews put into perspective the fact that getting real-life information from participants in form of primary data is key because it validates whatever solution you're going to be recommending because it has been tested. The second part is data robustness. The robustness of data cannot be overemphasized because again, this reinforces the validity of your solution. Generalizability of findings, insight applied, not the insight gotten from the solution, not only applied to my company, my client's company, but also other companies in general. Client collaboration this is in relation to effective communication to state that clear communication played a very vital role in the success of my project because we had a very smooth correspondence, the client and I. Actionable recommendations, setting a clear set of criteria to be able to say, okay, once this is accomplished, then you know that you're on the right path. Adaptability, to be able to adapt to whatever challenges come within the process of the project helps underscore the importance of having flexibility. Finally, interpersonal growth. As a researcher, I was having to interview people. I was able to, guess the importance of profound human insights, the need to have empathy and active listening skills in research. Finally, this whole project underscores the need for continuous growth. It has greatly helped me both in my personal and professional life, and it just goes to say with much practice comes, perfection. For the reflection aspect, I adopted the Gibbs framework to help me structure my reflection, and it contains 6 stages. Now, from the onset of the project, I was a bit, confused and anxious because it felt very overwhelming. I did not have clear understanding of what the project was, and because of this, I felt really off, and the project was off to a slow start. This led to, I was always anxious because I didn't know what to do. But thankfully, on the positive side, none of the key risks that I identified in the start of the project materialized. And also the stated dependencies and constraints of the project did not hinder the project in any way. Although one of the challenges that I would state is the fact that I realized that I need to work on my time management. I deviated from the project plan, like I said, which is the Gantt chart. And as a result of that, I was unable to turn in my submission for the first phase on time, which made me to get a lower than expected grade. I was very disappointed considering the high standard I set for myself. In hindsight, I recognize the need to work on my time management skills and also to adhere very diligently to whatever project plan I set in place. Because if this was in place, it would have ensured that each activity was completed within the stated time, and it would have saved me a lot of pitfalls and procrastination. In conclusion, again, I've learned that effective time management plays a very pivotal role in any form of project or job or whatever the case. Just effective management is very key. And I also noticed that seeking clarity from my supervisor helped to make me at more ease and understand that I had this covered and handled. Finally, looking forward, I'm committed to enhancing my time management skills to ensure that I don't have any sort of pitfalls or challenges with regards to time frame which I experienced for this project. And that's the end of my personal reflection. these are the references that I adopted, and this brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much.